Blacksmith?
What?
Where are the weapons?
Oh, I stole them.
What?
They're mine now.
Blacksmith?
No!
Can I at least get a proper Glavenus greatsword?
Oh, I actually did make one of those.
Yeah?
And I gave it to your cat.
No! Hello, my fellow hunters, and welcome to, well, the two issues with Iceborne that hold back an otherwise, and I do genuinely mean this, masterpiece of an experience. So without further ado, let's get straight into this, because you can probably tell what I am about to name. Weapon designs, to say the least.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Now, I am not the first person to point this out, and I won't be the last. In fact, there has been lots of healthy discussion on it recently, and I think it's important to add everyone's voice that we can, including my own, because it's something that I really dearly hope changes in Monster Hunter going forward in the new world format. And we need the ending of bits on sticks. We really, really do. It is fundamentally, bitterly disappointing that when you have hunted hard this crazy beast of legend and you have slew it true, for you to get back to the blacksmith and find out that the weapon you are crafting from its magical corpse is a basic iron or bone template with a kind of slight theme of the monster glued onto it. It just is a huge letdown, and it's not just even a letdown from the pure sense of I like to look cool, because yes, that's important, and it really is important. Feeling like you look awesome is a huge aspect in nearly everyone's gaming psyche. It just is, and there's nothing wrong with that. There is something intrinsically satisfying about seeing what you're swinging around and thinking, beyond that, in Monster Hunter, it also takes away from, well, the theme of the game. The monster hunting, you are using what you slay to do better slaying. So when you're presented with a standard weapon with frills, it doesn't really feel like that. Why is this a Glavenus weapon? Why is it a Glavenus weapon? Because it's got a Glavenus motif on it? Okay, I guess. But why does that give this bone and metal the power of fire? Why is that actually giving it the strength that it has? It doesn't really make of the sense. But even if you don't want to go down the sense route, returning monsters that have had weapons in old games that have just not been brought, that have just been dropped, that is baffling. That is beyond baffling. The fact that my fucking cat can have a Glavenus greatsword that looks actually like it should, when I, the hunter, have to use this monstrosity for the rest of Iceborne because it's the best weapon, is so infuriating. Because it's there! You could literally just scale up the Palico weapon and put it on the hunter, and everyone would be fine with that! It just, you can make the resource argument, the time argument. The team that makes Monster Hunter is relatively small, and they do an exemplary job. The detail, the care, the attention, it is rare to see that level of just love go into an experience these days, and I want to take nothing from them. I am sure it's easy for us to be like, why isn't every weapon unique? And them to be like, because there's not enough hours in a day, guys. And that is totally fair. It really is. I don't want to approach this from a kind of whiny standpoint, but when you literally see the weapon in question in the game just smaller on a Palico, it really starts to make you wonder. And look, it doesn't ruin the game, not by a long shot, not even slightly. But it always hangs there in the back of your mind with a big, why did it have to be this way? What if there was so much potential? Monsters like Namiel that are, in my opinion, easily in the top 3 most gorgeous designs they've ever done. I feel so sorry for any of you that excitedly got back to the smithy to find out your Namiel weapon was just Namiel bits on bone or metal. Like, that is really tragic. And at the end of the day, if your best weapon happens like garbage, well, they have fun with that. And I know what you're going to say, a few of you. Well, just use a slightly worse weapon that looks better. Do you really need to do maximum damage? And to that I say, get out. No seriousness, no, of course you don't. But is that fair? Should you be asking to choose efficiency and, well, liking the way it is, the way that it looks? I think there is on both sides there, but I don't think that is intrinsically the core of the problem. If the Glavenus Greatsword had a unique model that I personally didn't like, then yeah, that's kind of an unfair thing for me to say. Like, make it cooler so I like it. I don't want to use this. But it's the whole concept of basic bone metal weapons with bits on. That's the issue. It's not really whether you like that aesthetically or not. It's whether that is something that should be. It's whether that is right. It's whether that is excusable, especially with weapons that already have existing really badass designs. And I could understand as well if it was, well, you know, we gave a slew of unique looks to, you know, half the weapons per monster, and then, you know, we wanted every other weapon to at least have something from that monster, so we filled it out with iron and bone. But no, still not every monster has a weapon in every category, so it doesn't even work on that level. The Band-Aid fix of custom mods, which is a really neat system, by the way, I really like it at its base level, actually infusing more parts, changing it, customizing the stats in some small way. If that was developed further in future games and had much more of an impact aesthetically, and you could maybe create some hybrid monster weapons visually, that is amazing. But right now, I don't want to take my acidic Glavenus weapon and then make it look like a Jagras weapon, and then a Banbaro weapon, and then a Radaban weapon, and then a Glavenus weapon again, by the way! It doesn't do a lot, and they've shown that they're fine with doing out their designs. The bloody frozen tuna sword is back, which is amazing! It just leaves a lot of questions, doesn't it? And I don't think that inherently it's good for the game. It just isn't. There really needs to be just that little bit more care and attention to the actual weapon designs. I don't know why they went this route in Monster Hunter. Perhaps understand this game when everyone was converting to the new systems and engine, but in Iceborne, a lot of people thought it would be different, and a lot of people were understandably disappointed. Where do you lay on that line of thinking? Actually, even or is it just, I mean, it'd be nice to it's okay, or actually kind of bothered about this? I'd love to hear your thoughts. I personally I have the main issue with it of it intrinsically disconnects the Monster Hunter experience of using what you hunt to kill. And that's where I don't like it. I think that it's a disconnect, a breakdown with the philosophy of the game and what you're actually fighting with. And I don't like that from an actual design standpoint, irrelevant of what the aesthetics actually end up being. And to labour the point again with Glavenus, you could literally take the bloody shard of his tail that comes off when you sever it and sticks in the floor, put a bloody handle in the end, and that would be an incredible Glavenus Greatsword. The monster that is based literally off a Greatsword, confirmed by the devs, does not have a unique Greatsword model. Okay, let's move on to part 2. The other thing that kind of really sort of about this game, and that is the armor. Now, the armor itself is gorgeous. It is unquestioningly, on average, the best designed armor I have seen in a game ever. It is amazing, and every single set nearly just is like, I want to wear that, I want to wear that, I want to wear that, I'm gonna look so pretty, except I'm not. And that's the issue. Why, in all that is holy, is there not full layered? Now, this is just a decision they have made because the implementation of it is in-game. All they need to do is turn on a switch and we have full layered. The modders have found it on PC, it is built in, the functionality is there, it's just not on. And I ask why? Now, the main counter-argument is, well, it's satisfying to choose a balance between skills and aesthetic, and it is, and I genuinely like that, I do. But more and more over the course of World, now Iceborne, I am shifting to the side of just give everything layered, and the reason I am is twofold. Number one, if you have a world of meta builds, which you do, you know, you can aim the special snowflake argument as much as you want, but the fact remains 90% of hunters are going to use something close to the meta cookie cutter build for their weapon. They just are, and that's fine. That's fun, being efficient, farming the best sets. Everyone likes that. They have a few quirky fun sets for when they're feeling a little bit different. If you're getting your proper farm and trade on, you'll have your meta set and you will look like everyone else that uses that weapon with a meta set. So that doesn't really work out because you just see the same thing all the time. Adding layered armor then, of course, diversifies this massively because everyone can go off and put on, well, their favorite armor set. You'll see people in optimum builds looking like Banbaro, and you'll see people in optimum builds looking like Yangaruga, and that already adds such diversity. Because look, on a fundamental level, it's just sad. It is really sad. It is wasteful. They have gone to the effort of finally crafting such detailed, breathtaking armor. Again, truly some of the best I have ever seen in gaming in general. Even as early on as I just mentioned, Banbaro, it's gorgeous. All the armor is tip-top. And the fact that you will not use it past maybe occasionally through the story as you upgrade as you go along, and maybe occasionally for a niche fun build you'll use 1 out of every 50 hunts, you will not use it or see it. And that is criminal. That is so many wasted resources just on a practical level. Why not add in a system that is difficult, that requires rare materials and the defeating of tough monsters, but once you do, you can craft layered armor of an armor set of your choice. Maybe give each armor set its own unique list to require to craft it, or maybe give them all once you have X set of rare materials, you can choose any of them and you can repeat that process. However you define it, why not actually build it into the game as a loop? Especially now with the guiding lands, you could tie it into getting all the way to level 7, killing tempered lands elders, and then you can unlock what you need to get layered going on. Now maybe it's buried really deep in the game and it somehow is here, but I highly doubt it from the early copies, data mining, leaks and all of that. There even slightly points towards it. Like, you just need to make it a system. Who would spend hours and hours grinding and farming until they've unlocked every set as layered for maximum fashion? This guy. And I'm sure a lot of you would do too, at least for their favourite sets at the very least. Like, watching these so wonderful, you really could. You could get some incredible themes and fashions going on, and as it stands now, you just can't. This is what I get to look like in my optimum greatsword build if I ignore layered armor, which I think is fair to do, because you want the base to stand out. And don't get me wrong, I like Damascus, I like Glavenus, it's fine on an individual piece, but it looks kind of a mess, it's not great, and by the way, the Damascus is just the high rank model, so I barely even feel like I'm in Iceborne armor. And again, just use different armor. I want to do the most damage but also look good. That's not a crime, that's not a ridiculous ask now, is it? Now, fortunately, with some hidden layered armor, I can kind of almost get a better look that's not the most wintry weather, but you know, it'll do. But inherently, I think there just needs to be full layered. We're in a day and age where people want that, people almost expect it in a lot of games to have that visual customization, and there is literally no drawbacks. It diversifies the visual flair that you will see across hunters. Implemented correctly, it adds content and endgame farming for us to work on. And then you don't even need to see what people are actually wearing at a glance because it's a cooperative game. You don't need to know what another hunter actually is doing skill-wise at just visual level because he's on your team. You can inspect him if you really want to, but you don't need to register an enemy and see what they're going to do to you, which is the main reason sometimes you want people disabled custom visuals. There really is no cons and only pros, and it is crazy to me it does not exist. This has been 15 minutes of ranting. I hope you enjoyed it in any way you can, and I would love your thoughts, feedback, and opinions on all of it. I really would. Spread the word, and let's see if, well, the next installment of Monster Hunter, an otherwise flawless game, I truly believe so, has these addressed. Like if you enjoyed this, subscribe for more, and I will see you next time. A goodbye.
Rage Gaming with the video float.
But that's all that's really relevant at the mo, but I'm still gonna leave this up so you patrons know that I love you even though the outro's no longer that kind of relevant. But the new one's being worked on and it's gonna be a truly badass song, and don't worry, I won't be doing any rapping on it. I'm gonna go now. This was shit.